welcome to the Saturday Robo Show Orlando at the Orlando Regional at UCF Arena. I'm James Austin from Team 1902.
And I'm Gabe Salas from 233.
All right, and we just went through the Alliance selection process at the end of the qualification matches, which, for those of you who don't know, we go through a qualification schedule where you're randomly paired with your partners and pitted against opponents, and then the top 8 teams after that process get to pick their partners to go through what we call the elimination bracket.
Right.
And it was a fairly exciting qualification schedule. First off, I mean, the matches have been pretty outstanding all day, today and yesterday.
I mean, it's progressively gotten even better with each match as the day continued. I mean, even like yesterday when we went out around 3 p.m., all the matches were consistently on both alliances over 100 points compared to the morning. So even today, there were a lot of close matches, very exciting. A lot of nail-biters, too. And I actually decided a lot of the way the Alliance selections ended up being for today.
Yeah, definitely. And it was interesting to see how, like, even the last matches, the qualification matches, because there was the high-seeded teams playing for, like, one more and to be undefeated, really playing for ranking position right near the end of the match. And that just upped up the suspense, I think, for me. So let's talk a little bit about the Alliance selection process. First off, can you read off the alliances for me real quick?
Yes, definitely.
Because I don't think we have a graphic.
Yeah, that's all right. So number 1 seeded team was 233. They ended up picking 624 and 1902. And again, we'll go over details with all these teams later. Second seed alliance is 1592. Ended up picking 180 and 4901. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Look
awesome.
at that.
Okay. Third seed.
So
should we just continue?
I'm pretty sure they can read.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Don't want to assume. So,
but what's the thing that stood out to you in this alliance selection process? What's the first thing that really jumped out?
I want to be real honest. I think it's that 8th seed alliance. I was really surprised. Yes, they had an excellent first pick with 1251 Tech Tigers, and then there's followed immediately thereafter with their second pick with Team 79 Crunch, and both of them are excellent drivers. They're able to play well and have presence on the field.
Oh,
and
yeah, definitely.
I like to affectionately call the 8th seed alliance Team Shutdown because they're just a very strong defensive alliance overall, and they're going to definitely give the number 1 seed alliance a very hard time with this.
What do you think about the 179 team picking 1251, who's their twin? They're the same robot they built in parallel this year. What do you think that does for their match strategy coming up in the eliminations, and why do you think they went that route?
I think they went that route because they wanted a sense of familiarity. I mean, they were able to build with them and train with them, so they know exactly what they're fully capable of doing. And coordination is really key with this year's game. It's about cooperating with your alliance partners to get those points in. And if you're able to coordinate effectively and have that chemistry and that history, especially during build season, you're definitely going to be a step ahead of the game compared to all the other alliances who may never really formally talk to each other until they got selected.
Until they got to the event,
Exactly. So I think that gives them a huge edge on top of being familiar with the robots, with the human players, and the drive coaches, especially with everything else going on at the event.
All the things that have the possibility to change, it's good to have a little bit of familiarity in your alliance.
Yeah, and on top of it, you're going to have 2 teams that are very identical robots. And so if one team breaks down, you can have the pit.
Plenty of spares.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty of spares. You have the pit crew from the other team knows exactly what to do. They go straight to work and repair. So if they call for a timeout, all that time is valuable. They know exactly what they need to do, and they'll be able to do it very effectively. So.
Very cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about the other alliances that came up. We can have the graphic back again, just so we can refresh our memory and our viewers. Now, what do you think about that first pick, 233 picking 624? What does 624 bring to the alliance that makes them a first pick caliber team? That
is an excellent point that you brought up. With 624, they have an awesome autonomous. I would even rank them as probably one of the top teams at this event with an incredible autonomous. There are a lot of great teams with autonomous, but what sets them apart is that they're able to shoot 2 balls during autonomous on the high, but not only on the high, but they have a vision sensor. And so they're able to shoot on the high in the hot goal
That's
each time for both of them. So that definitely puts them at a huge step and huge differential right after autonomous. And so most of the times they're expecting to have other teams play catch-up and tie-off. And what do you think that 2-ball autonomous that 624 had, how do you think that affected their third pick of the match, which is 1902, who hasn't hit an autonomous mode at this regional yet? Do you think they took that into account when they did their whole pick strategy? Yes, definitely. Because with the way that the field is spread out, there are a lot of teams that drive well and defensively, And so with that, they're able to have a broader area of robots to select for second pick. So they're not really struggling to fit a specific role or something with flexibility. So they have more variety they're able to bring with that second pick. So definitely have that in mind with 19 and 2.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Looks like we're going to go down to the curtain to Dan Swando and give us a little bit more information.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to 233 and the other Alliance captains about their picks. About 233's first pick, 624, they said that they were looking, as Gabe said, for that 2-ball autonomous. That's going to be critical for them. Also, they like their coaching on that team, and they also like that they have a lot of experience since they've already played a regional.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So that, and they're just gonna try to do as many cycles as they can. Do the two-man cycle and 1 defense.
Makes a lot of sense. So their whole strategy is to keep one bot back, who I assume is going to be 1902. One bot back to just harass the other Alliance and try to slow them down, while Kryptonite and Pink work on cycling as fast as possible.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
You're saying their strategy is basically to just leave one robot back and let 233 and Kryptonite keep cycling and keep scoring as fast as possible.
Yeah, they picked 1902 so that they can just do defense. They've got a terrific driver, experienced driver, and they really like the drivetrain of 1902.
Very cool. All right, thank you very much, Dan. So I think we've got the first Alliance pretty much covered. What do you think of the second Alliance, 1592 picking 180? First of all, what do you think 180 brought to that Alliance that 1592 was looking for? And then how do you think that their third pick really rounded out the Alliance?
I think with 180, they were looking for experience and also just driver ability. And that's something that 80s definitely excel at. Many times I was watching through a lot of the qualifying, 180 under duress are able to fire on the go for the high goal for 10 points. And so they were able to move and actually shoot under pressure. And I think that's something that 1592 is looking for. I mean, towards the last 2 matches for today, for 1592, they definitely excel in showing presence and being able to carry the ball and manipulate it accordingly to what the rest of the Alliance needs.
Okay.
So I think they're looking for something like a partner to be side by side to be able to carry out their mission a little bit more effectively.
Got it. So you're thinking they were looking for somebody to basically work more the middle of the field and try to move the ball towards towards their end?
I like to say to call it progressing the ball forward.
Okay.
So like 1592, they could go either way, but with 180 and being able to shoot very well, they want to take advantage of that. And so I think that was a huge indicator for them picking them, and it's a solid pick for them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. 180 has been one of the standouts in the moving the ball up the field in the middle, I think. In my opinion, they've been spectacular at just the process of inbound, turn, get the human player, and then put it downfield. I think that's one of their strongest points, and they also get that 10-point trust shot every time, which is one of the nice ones. So let's talk a little bit about the third place Alliance, which looks like we're going down to Dan for a little bit more information on that. Dan, what's up?
Yeah, I talked to 1592, and they said that they wanted 180 because they've got good ball protection, they got good ball pickup, and they really like that clamp, that their claw, how they're able to pick up the ball and hold on to it and protect that ball right there. They're planning on doing either a three-man triple assist. That seems to be their main strategy.
All right, cool. Thank you, Dan. Let's go ahead and start moving through because it looks like they're starting to get set up. 744 and 1772. What do you think 1772 brings to 744 that they didn't have without them?
I think 1772, again, has been really good in carrying the ball back and forth between the field and even playing defense. So they could go either way with that range of flexibility. In terms of shooting, they've been getting a little bit better. They're not quite there yet, but I think as the finals progress forward, they're going to be more reliant on using and utilizing 1772 for shooting. So I think that's what they're going to want with that Alliance, to help double dip and switching back and forth between who shoots and who collects and pushes the ball back and forth.
Makes a lot of sense, and I think that's a pattern I started to see a little bit with some of the Alliances. Sort of a lot of the higher seeded were very good at scoring, but might wanted somebody to carry the ball and help in the middle of the field area, which is where a lot of the first picks seem to be.
Well, I mean, even with this Alliance, like if one team goes ahead and goes and shoots downfield, the other one's ready to receive the ball as soon as it goes through the high goal.
True.
And so you have teams that are wanting to go back and forth, and if you're in position defensively, that's more strategic to play offensively by being positioned rather than having one guy going back and forth so often.
Got it. All right, let's see what the teams had to say about it. Back to you, Dan.
Yeah, they were saying that their alliance partners, they want them to be able to catch the ball. They're going to try doing some of those truss catches, and they're going to do a lot of assisting. So they needed their partners for assisting and catching, and also their odd time is really good, like you said.
So, I'm sorry, real quick. You were saying that they're planning on trying to get the truss catch combination going for their alliance. So, just for people who might not know, the truss, you get 10 points for the ball traveling over the truss, but you actually have the opportunity to get an additional 10 points if a robot catches it on the other side, which we've only seen once, I think, all this regional so far.
There were some successes, but really low.
Yeah, it looked very difficult. You're saying they're trying to coordinate that and make that happen, Dan? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a large basket on 1772. So 624 is liking their chances of being able to get them to just open up and catch that ball over the truss.
All right, that's fantastic. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I want to
It'll
see
be
that.
interesting to see how that turns out. Okay, so next up on the list we have 1523 Mars, the first El Toro style sort of one, I think, which, by the way, my favorite pickup name ever, El Toro.
Yeah.
So what do you think they saw in 1065 Moose, and what do you think they brought to the Alliance?
I think 1065 has a solid autonomous. It's been pretty reliable, but more effectively is how consistent they are as shooters for the high. Now, the thing is, the downside with 1065 is they rely so heavily on being one particular spot to fire.
Okay.
So I think they're going to try to flex their ability and be able to shoot outside of their comfort zone at that particular spot. And I know a lot of teams know that, and they're getting a lot of harassment towards a lot of matches today
makes
about
a lot of
that.
Sense, yeah.
So they're going to have to diversify their strategy utilizing 1065, and they're up for the challenge, knowing their drive team.
And do you think Mars 1523 is, from what I've seen, they're more in the midfield position themselves? So instead of the ones we've seen in the past, which is basically scorer picking midfield to kind of supplement, kind of that reversed a little bit, or do you think they're going to share the load in the middle of the field a little bit?
I think they're going to share the load because under duress, like all the teams, this alliance is going to have some trouble if it's just even one-on-one. But I don't think that's uncommon. I think a lot of teams have that same issue. So whoever is under duress, the other team would just pick up the slack and keep pushing the ball forward.
Makes sense.
And so what's important here is to make sure that you're able to have enough cycle time to continue scoring effectively. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to keep pushing the ball forward, but just get your cycle done and keep going forward with shooting and scoring.
Yeah, the time of the cycles is massively important this time. So let's go ahead and move on to 3998, who I don't know a whole lot about them, or 4451. Can you tell me a little bit about either of them and what you think they saw?
3998, from what I saw on field, is they're very good with driving and playing defensively. And they're really smart about who they pick throughout the matches and where they categorize. And I was noticing more today, mostly because of just interest on second pick robots. It's going to be really critical for these alliances, and it could sink, or you can sink almost every alliance if you just have a terrible second pick. So looking at them today, they were really solid. In fact, I saw them pushing a lot of other teams across the field, just being able to harass them. So with them, I honestly would look for them to be more defensively, but 4451 Robots Garage, they're I have to say my favorite rookie team from last year.
Oh yeah.
So very memorable. I've been talking to them since they first came here from last year, and I saw them in championship. They did great, for rookie teams. So with them, 4451, they're going to be able to shoot and progress the ball forward, but I think they have difficulty picking the ball off the floor. So for them, it's going to be really critical in being able to hold and possess the ball without really losing it. Yes.
Yeah. Ball possession is pretty important.
And I think 3990 is up for be able to provide those blocks for 4451.
All right, real quick, I think we're up to 383. Can you tell me a little about what 383 saw in 2151 and what you think their strategy might be as they approach the elimination matches and what they're going to be doing?
383, they have a fairly decent drivetrain, and I think for them it's going to be mostly in being able to provide the assist as they need it. For the most part, with 383 is the next alliance. It's 2152. I think with 2152, again, it's going to be assisting 383. But more importantly, what I'm more impressed is their second pick. 21.
Yeah.
Is Combat. Very solid team this year. And in fact, they actually provided on the last match that they played
Mhm.
a critical win for Pink to push them to first seed.
Yeah, there's really a lot of presence of mind for 21's drivers, especially because when Pink first started the match, it looked like a drivetrain problem. They couldn't move. So 21 was very good about getting the ball and progressing it upfield and scoring just constantly as much as they could and getting around the defense that inevitably came at them.
They did, and it was like a last-minute buzzer beater trust toss that won the match, and that was on 21. So props to them to play smart when it came to those last final seconds on what to actually do with that ball.
All right, we got one last. That's the 7th Alliance, 35-56, picked 14-21.
With 35-56, again, another great solid robot, and been really consistent throughout the matches. Being able to play defensively and keep the ball moving forward. With 14-21, they've been actually, I don't want to say like hit or miss with shooting, but they've gotten progressively better. So I think with them, they're going to be more reliant again with double teaming with a lot of alliances. So I see both 14-21, 35-56 actually moving the ball together.
Really?
Yes. Forward and back on the team. They're gonna have
more like an escort than a.
Yes, it's gonna be an escort mission. So they're gonna, if one person's having trouble, the second guy's right there to help them out, and vice versa.
That makes a lot of sense. Try to keep the defense off of them and try to make the path for the person with the ball the easiest to the goal. That makes a lot of sense. Well, it'll be interesting to see if we get that.
Yes.
All right, it's looking like we're just near the start here. So go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the importance of autonomous in this game.
Oh man.
and how much we've seen the whole dynamic of the match shift just in those first couple seconds.
Yes, and I'm really glad you brought that up because it's something that we failed to mention yesterday. And I'm surprised. Like, even though before we went on air, we were talking about, we got to talk about autonomous and how important it is, and we just got so absorbed over the matches that we totally skipped it. So with autonomous, it's huge. Like, and that is the primary reason why 233 and picking 624 is they want that huge spread. Right off the bat from autonomous, so you could either continue scoring and increasing that longevity, or you can go ahead and just play real hard defense and make it. I don't want to make it a game into attrition, but just shut down the other team, prevent them from even getting the ball forward or finishing their cycles.
All right. Well, we're talking a little bit more about that as the matches progress and as they start to go.
Yes.
What we're going to do right now, though, is we showed this video yesterday, but we want to make sure that everybody watching sort of understands the process of the game and how sort of the flow of it works. So what we're going to show you right now is the first match of the day on Friday. You see an inbounder, the Red Alliance, inbound into the Red Alliance robot. Now what they're going to try to do is pass it to get as many assists as possible. Every time a red robot passes to another red robot, it adds a bonus to the score of that ball. So what you're going to see right now, that was one pass, one assist, and then Spam's going to pass it to the human player who assists into Moose. And now it's a 3-assist score if Moose can get it into the goal, and you'll see it go up right there. And I think one of the coolest things about this game is that it really does set priorities for the teams to work together as much as possible, because while it's nice to be able to just grab the ball and get into the goal by yourself, and it's good that if you have a robot that can do that, you can't really expound the story, and you can't really run the game and do well during the tournament without using those assists. And I think in the qualification matches, it was cool to sort of see how it works. I'm really anxious to see how teams who have more time to coordinate and more time to figure out how they work together, how they end up playing the game, and how the flow of the matches works out. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things to watch as we go forward.
I think with this game, what a lot of people tend to overlook is the amount of strategy that's involved, and the strategy is purely on positioning. I mean, if you're jockeying for a specific spot to be able to perform that trust shot or that shot, that's key. And with the human player, to introduce the ball onto the field, you have to decide where you're going to throw it into the robot or in front of it for them to pick it up. And even having the human player catch it from long distance
And I will say that the human player sometimes is not necessarily the most envious position of the drive team, but this year, especially with the balls, the way they're flying across the field, it's incredible what the human players are able to do, because you'll see what this robot's about to do is jump over the truss. So it's instantly 10 points, and then because the human player catches it and then inbounds it directly to another robot, they've never lost control of the ball. So you still are able to get the 10-point bonus from the truss, but you don't have to worry about chasing the ball down once you get to the other side. As you said, a game totally of positioning. And now, because I do actually, I love that the pink human player decided to put a camera on his head, because this is one of my favorite videos we ended up getting.
And even like the hand signals that you see him providing to the drives team on the other side of the field on when it was okay to drive. And you probably saw there the frisbee. Was used to actually
a little bit of a friendly gift from the robot to the human player.
Yeah, definitely. It popped out in the middle of that match and almost hit a human player. So it's tough to be a human player this year.
It's tough out there for a human player, man. Always, always. All right, we're very close to the start of the elimination matches now. Looks like the teams are on the field and on the floor and getting ready to go into the field. Let's go back into autonomous, just because I want to point out one more thing about auto. As you said, once you get that buffer there, it's great. You have a lot of room to play with, and getting those 3-ball autonomouses in the hot goal and having that, not only is it great for you, but it's almost demoralizing for the other team. And that might be too strong a word, but that's a hard mental stop to come up against when you're down by 40 points after 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, just trying to get over that as a driver.
But even like you say, like your 40-point deficit after 10 seconds in game.
Yeah.
That's 1 to 2 cycles on average just to catch up. And then now you have to try to get on top of the other Alliance, and they're trying to do the same thing as well. Yeah. So it can be demoralizing, but it's a very hard hill to climb at that point.
And it's even more impressive when you do end up coming back from that deficit. And I think we're going to see, my favorite thing about this game is all the point swings, and I think we're going to see a lot of that in this game. But before that, one thing that happened in Orlando is the FTC tournament. The FTC state tournament happened recently. We have a little bit of footage from that we think you might enjoy.
For a year in review in FTC in Florida 2013-2014, let's first start off looking at the game. This year's game was called FTC Block Party. The game was played with a 2-inch plastic cube, 100 of them on this 12-foot square field, placed in the corners. In the center there was a ramp structure with a horizontal pipe and 2 pendulums for each alliance holding 4 basket goals and 1 low goal under it. In the corners, Alliance-colored flags are in place for these 2 robot alliances. There's a 30-second autonomous period followed by a 2-minute driver-controlled period, culminating with a 30-second endgame. Goals are like this: 1 point for each cube in the bottom goal, 2 points for every one in an inside basket, and 3 points for them on an outside basket. In the end, if you could balance your pendulum, you had a 50% bonus on your blocks. During endgame also, if you raise your flag, you get points for various heights. And ultimately, if you can hang your robot, you get 50 points. All the teams from across the state met up in Middleton High School in Tampa to see the game, and a few weeks later they started meeting up in league events. These events are regionalized with a small number of teams playing each other. These teams meet up 2 or 3 times in a special format with a fast final. Finally, you have a final league day. This league championship has a full format with all the awards being given. The top 24 teams meet up at Embry-Riddle University in Daytona to play the FTC State Championship. These were some of the most amazing matches that will be seen anywhere around the world. The competition was fierce. High scores were being set and reset all day, and teams had a ton of fun dancing. In the end, some awards were handed out, but the top honor going to Team Duct Tape for their win of the Inspire Award. That qualified them and 9 other teams to the South Super Regional Championship held just weeks ago in San Antonio, Texas. Again, the competition was fierce there, but our Florida teams did very, very well. 24 teams in total were qualified out of the 100-team event, 6 of which coming from Florida. So good luck to our Florida teams at the World Championship in St. Louis.
All right, it's looking like the robots are starting to go onto the field, so just to let you know, we might cut out and just go directly to the field. We don't want you to miss any of the robot action that we see today. So what are you looking forward to in these first couple matches? What are you looking forward to seeing?
I look forward to seeing robots playing smart and well, and I just want to see good matches. I mean, the last few exciting Oklahoma matches are great.
All right, looks like we're going to the field. I'm excited for this video.
Yeah.